Well, good morning. Today is day in our journey through the Word, and just continue to enjoy the things that God is sharing with me. Uh, but disturbing a little bit today, I want to start with the word blasphemy. We read a lot of it in the days ahead as we continue to read the word blasphemy. And I looked it up, and it says in the Greek it literally means to speak harm. In the biblical context, blasphemy is an attitude of disrespect that finds expressions in an act directed against the character of God. The offense of blasphemy is a capital crime. It was a capital crime, and the offender is to be stoned by the community, not by one, but by the community. Everybody played a part in stoning the one who blasphemed the name of the Lord. Blasphemy involves the actual pronunciation of the name of God along with an attitude of disrespect. It's not necessarily a bad word at the end, though. That is most definitely, but it's also the attitude, and I underlined that in my notes, an attitude of disrespect toward the name of God. With the threat of using the name of God alone, with the attitude of disrespect, the personal name of God, which we know as Yahweh, was withdrawn from the ordinary daily speech, and the title of Adonai, our Lord, was used in its place. People did not want to be accused of blasphemy, so they did not use the name of God, Yahweh, but called him Lord. I enjoyed reading today about the year of Jubilee. I'd heard about it before, but just spent some more time in learning about the year of Jubilee. It came every 50 years. It was the year after 7 cycles of 7 years. It began with the blast of a ram's horn and on the Day of Atonement. And during this year, the joy and liberation, the law stipulated that the land and the people were to be sanctified. It was to be a time of rest for the soil and for the people. The unattended growth of the field was for the poor to glean and for the beast of the field to graze. Remember in Exodus 23:11 when the people were commanded to let the land be renewed and lie uncultivated during the 7th year. Then let the poor among you, or let me start that again. Then let the poor among you harvest whatever grows on its own. Leave the rest for wild animals to eat. The same applies to your vineyards and your olive groves. Another way the land and people were to be sanctified was all the land was to revert back to the original owner. The original distribution of land was to remain intact. The year of Jubilee prevented the Israelites from oppression of one another by giving everyone a chance for a new start. Families and tribes were preserved by the return of freed bondservants to their own families. Permanent slavery in Egypt or in Israel was rendered impossible. They came out of slavery and would not be permitted to be permanent slaves to one another. The purchase of property was like a lease for a maximum of 49 years. And again, depending where you were in that cycle of 49, depending on how long that you would have property. And the seller always retained the right to cancel the purchase by settling with the buyer on the amount of money that was still payable, taking into account the number of years that the buyer had made use of the property. And that's the number of years between the last year of Jubilee until the next. So the sale of a house, for example, was equivalent to renting. It was for a specific period of time. This made it difficult to accumulate vast permanent holdings of wealth for the people of Israel. The Israelites were repeatedly given the opportunity to begin anew. Wouldn't that be great if we had that same opportunity today? Every 50 years, you had a chance for the opportunity to begin anew. And the poor were enabled to maintain themselves in society. During the year of Jubilee, the Israelites were once again taught that they were to live in the faith that God would satisfy their needs. When the people questioned, "What will we eat?" God responded with, and this is out of 25:21, He assured them that I will send my blessing for you. So the land will produce a crop large enough for 3 years. So on the 49th year, they would get 3 years of crops in the blessing that was promised by God. My takeaway from today is God will provide. We won't have to understand how. We can just trust that He will. God will provide. I look forward to tomorrow's reading, and I will see you again as we journey through the Word.